So, welcome once more, Trisha. Hopefully some other guys will join us as well. So, welcome to you, Module 2, Cohere or Collapse, Chaos or Order. Very much bound to our subject of this course, the Polarity Code. So, before we start with our material, with a lot of read and reflection and interaction, let's drop down into our breath. So I invite you to, if it feels right for you, place your hand on your heart, prayer pose, or just touch your heart as you wish, as it feels right for you. And let's practice the box breath. 4, 4, 4, 4. For 4 counts. A couple of minutes in silence. Allowing this very breath to harmonize our system and to, in a way, become the pulse of polarity between us. Imagining that as we inhale, we are receiving pole, and as we exhale, we are transmitting. As we enter the field state, let's call upon the directions, activate our sacred space. So, to the south, Mother Serpent, teach us to shed old skins. To the west, Mother Sister Jaguar, walk with us through the dark without fear. To the north, may we taste joy even in paradox. To the east, Eagle, lift us to see from the highest coherence. Mother Earth, ground us, be with us. Aho. Father Sky, widen us. Teach us to fly wing to wing with the Great Spirit. Aho. Welcome once more, Module 2. Very interesting subject that we're going to touch today, cohere or collapse, chaos and order. So, as we know, nothing really rests as everything is energy. So everything moves, everything vibrates, and these facts are some of the oldest facts from the oldest teachings from the Kybalion, from the Hermetic teachings. So the ancients knew this as well, and we are generally, our modern generation, present generation is just catching up. The great majority of the world realizing that everything is vibration, frequency, and energy. So these are, in a way, the simple truths that we often overlook in our existence. So when we state something like this, that everything is vibrating, everything is moving, well, we can, in a way, conclude that we, us as humans, neither are we here to remain the same. We are also here to change, to keep on being in flow. And we are here in its simplicity to say to move and to feel and to transform as well. So when we speak about the concept of vibration, it's a form of energy. Everything is vibrating, moving. And we can in a matter say, in a way say that we are also here to vibrate in all these different frequencies that are given to us as humans in our human lifetime. So we are actually here to taste and to feel and to sense everything that we so desire. And this is very much human in a way. And of course, this is connected to the fact that everything is in constant motion, and this is our nature also to be in motion. So that said, we can bring this thought a little bit more down to the microcosm. So every cell in our body is also humming with this electromagnetic rhythm. Even our heart is kind of like a metronome, contracting, expanding, standing in a rhythm. Even our breath is kind of like a wave, this inhalation, exhalation. It has its oscillation, its polarity. So even if we try to put this thought even more abstract out there, we can say that our nervous system is like an antenna, and our mind, in a way, is like a transmitter of possibilities. So here comes a kind of like a paradox with these things. In this world which we're living in, which is really truly addicted to certainty, we become in a way terrified of movement. We seek control, we seek predictability, and this also, in a way, conditions us to seek comfort, and we see, in a way, discomfort as a dysfunction, not our natural state. And often, when one or another kind of chaos appears in our lives, we call it a crisis. But in principle, and we know this really deeply within our beings, even though we deny this, in principle, this truth, uh, the chaos is the birth, the womb of the birth of creation. It's like a catalyst for creation, really, truly. And never an enemy of the growth, it's like the portal to redefining whatever we are dealing with in a challenge situation, which we can call chaotic, which we can call chaos. We can, in a way, turn it around with our human resilience and create and transform and transmute. And what are the good real life examples for this? Well, we can bring it down to something really so profoundly fundamental, a birth, giving a birth to a human being or to a being. So every birth kind of begins in a contraction. Every breakthrough erupts also from some kind of breakdowns. Every transformation, whether it be biological, psychological, spiritual, it's kind of riding on the edge of disorder. It's like a oscillatory path and amplitude which is touching disorder to be able to give birth to something new, to crystallize from this chaos. Shamans call this territory dancing the edge. This is the place between collapse and control. So this is a very fertile area, very creative, authentic area for creation of whatever we are having to give birth to. But well reminding us that this chaotic edge, so to say, shamans say dancing the edge, is something that we can learn to breathe into and to realize and to accept as the area of creative flow. So sometimes we can even describe this as the place where the real life happens. The greatest changes that always give birth to something new. So if we look at this notion of the chaos, which we often avoid, if we try to say to ourselves, how about we, instead of avoiding chaos, we learn how to breathe through chaos, and instead of fearing this collapse within the chaotic zone, we recognize this as kind of like a feedback signal, which then brings back something to us and makes us more alive, and makes us realize that we got the strength to and the resilience to walk through the chaotic times and the changing times where there lies obviously the greatest potential for innovation, for well, all kinds of novelty, creative novelty, so to say. I would also like to use, to give us an example of a few quotes bound to neuroplasticity and to epigenetics. So this guy, Bruce Lipton, he says, and he describes these chaotic states like the entropy windows. And what does he mean with this? He says, when a cell reaches its functional limit, it allows for kind of like a temporary chaos. And this chaos is like a disintegration of current structure in order to reintegrate and reorganize at the higher level. So this is a great example of what we are talking about here. If we as humans go through chaotic periods, and now through this microcosmic example, we compare our state and the state of the cellular renewal, well, we say also that we can reorganize at the higher level as well as the cellular tissues are doing and the cells in our bodies and molecules as well. So this is in a way like a metamorphosis. So when we speak about a change, a transmutation, transformation, often we forget that the greatest of our changes are really happening and occurring in the hardest of our times, in these chaotic times. Connected to the neuroplasticity, we can use a quote given by Joe Dispenza. So, to rewire the brain, one must enter the unknown, and allowing our familiar identity to dissolve long before the new neural maps are beginning to form. So when Dispenza is saying here that we have to enter the unknown, to leave the familiar behind, to be able to create new neural paths, which means to create, for example, a new identity or a new setup of personality. So this unknown, it's actually this chaotic zone, the zone of the chaos, which we as humans often take as a discomfort and we avoid passing through it. And that's why we always and often stay not living up to our highest potentials, and we are simply in a way cheating ourselves for the best possible version of our lives, of our energetic beings. So this also in a way proves to us that to become coherent, to become this harmonic identity, being, energetic being, we have to pass through some kind of incoherencies. We have to pass through some kind of challenges and dualistic experiences so that our nervous system can be able to hold this frequency of harmony. So we can say in a very plain way, when our strong emotions arise and when our plans break, when our rhythms shatter, we can allow ourselves to pause, not to fall in panic, and think about this period as that we are entering the laboratory of life, as a area of exploration, time to break free from the known, time to rearrange and to give birth to something new. So this is a very fruitful area, this chaotic, half, unknown area for us, the discomfort that we often avoid. Very fruitful, very good for one's evolution in any case. So we can conclude that the opposite side, then, the order, is kind of like the integrator. Order is not the master. Order is, of course, sacred, but it's not the goal. It's kind of like the framework around this whole experience of order and chaos and the coherence in the middle. So, order, of course, in a way we can say it holds all the elements of what chaos gives birth to. So, in a way, we can say that too much chaos creates fragmentation. Too much order creates rigidity. So the path is not to choose from between those two, but the path is to move between these two gracefully, to be able to feel both ends, to be able to hold the harmonic frequency in a stable and solid way. So in biology, there is a term for this movement, and it's called homeodynamic balance. And this is actually the body's ability to maintain health through continuous adjustment. In Hermetic philosophy, the principle of rhythm, of the movement between these two, says that everything flows in and out, and everything has its tides. All things rise and all things fall. And this is also very bound to the very known and famous teaching of Buddha. Nothing is permanent, and the principles of impermanence. So in this rhythm, we can say that the rhythm is the organizing principle of nature. So coming down to the concept of coherence as this harmonic state, as this sync. So to explain coherence, which is really our thread in all the days of this course Polarity code. So what is coherence? Coherence is not some kind of meditative detachment. And neither it is being above it all. It's not some kind of super state, superhuman state, which is unattainable. So coherence is when our thoughts, feelings, emotions, our breath, and our nervous system are in harmony with one another. So our coherence is actually so important that it determines what we attract in our life. So this is saying to us that unless the systems of thoughts, feelings, breath, and the nervous system are in harmony, we will not be completely sure what we are attracting for. We will not be aligned with the resonance of the frequency that we emit and what we are seeking to attract. So when we are aligned fully and when we are in sync, well, the field will always deliver abundance to us, back abundance to our field. And we can take a few examples. If we want to attract love, then we have to become the resonance of love. Wanting to attract peace, well, we have to cultivate the frequency of peace. So Trisha, now I got a few reflections for us here after the first part of the teachings. So you may be willing to engage. It's fully up to you, but I would be very happy that you gave me a little bit of feedback. So one question that both of us can reflect upon, how can we focus in, hone in onto these parts of ourselves, which we obviously sometimes are avoidant to face, but which are a fruitful area for us to be transforming into the most optimal editions of ourselves, most efficient and most energetically aligned versions of ourselves. So my question is to you, are there any places in your life where you're structuring your life to avoid the mystery, or are you allowing space for the mystery?
I'm trying to allow space for the mystery. I'm really working on being open and allowing it to flow and come in and being open. There was a time in my life where I wanted to avoid it all, but I have started to appreciate the fact that I need to be open to it, and the more I am, the more it comes, the more it's attracted in, and I can see it, and the more good and the more it flows in.
Good. Thank you for sharing that. And well, one more reflective question, or just a nudge, maybe. Maybe you would like to interact a little bit with me a little bit more. So, are there any breakdowns which you currently may be judging, but they might actually be like breakthroughs in disguise? So this is this area, this fruitful area of the chaotic wave. And this is, we can translate this question into, are there any areas in your life right now which are carrying this enormous potential for you to enter the transformation into the best possible energetic version of yourself? So these chaotic areas of our life, which we sometimes avoid, which are really, really fruitful for change and for bettering ourselves. But okay, thank you. So these questions like this, we can in a way call them tools for frequency diagnostics. People talk a lot about frequency, vibration, energy, and once when we realize that these uh, energetic states are actually places where we can learn about ourselves. And that's why the tools for diagnostics of, for example, frequency, the right questions asked, we can learn about ourselves. We can help ourselves, to overcome really challenging areas of our lives, these chaotic periods of our lives, which obviously many of our lives are bringing.
Well,
So,
there's been a lot of stress in my life dealing with my elderly parents, and I've been having this overwhelming urge to run and hide, and I'm trying to fight back against that. Um, it's
well,
not always easy. Um, I've been spending a lot of time alone and trying to decompress and just de-stress and accept what's happening, um, and accept that it's all part of the cycles of life.
mhm.
It's a learning experience, and it's for me. Starting to learn that I can't control everybody else and what's happening in the world. That I have to just accept what's happening. So even though it's hard and parts of me want to fight against it, I'm learning that I can't. I'm learning acceptance.
Hmm, good. But that's nice, the tools of discernment, the tools of letting go, and as we pass these more chaotic periods of our lives where we also get to know ourselves better, we always learn how to tune into these parts of ourselves where we repeatable times in our life, seasonally, get to maybe even repeat some of our old mistakes, which are in a way always refreshed. We always learn a little bit new about ourselves. So, but I got another good reflection for us. And I would like to ask you, Trisha, because this is connected to our frequency and to this frequency diagnostics of ourselves. So, can you recall a time where you deeply desired something, but you felt it resist the more you chased it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
When you let go and just let it go and just forget about it, it comes to you.
No. Well, yeah, I guess our lives are really full of examples like that, where we really long for something, burn for something, wish for something really so badly, and we chase, and in a way, it's kind of running away more from us. And once we let go, and this uh, thing that you mentioned also for a few minutes ago, that you're learning to accept aspects of your reality and life by letting go, and this allows you to fall to peace, to find your center again, to find your presence, which also can be seen in this example. So, to break this down, what do we emit our frequency through then? It's through the rhythm of our breath, meaning how we breathe. What's the form of our breath? And the breath is very much connected to the stability of our nervous system. So this stabilizes our frequency. This is a very important part of what do we emit our frequency through. Second part of the frequential emission is the heart rate variability. So this is our pulse. Third emission of frequency is the tone of our voice. So also our posture, and also the subtle muscular tensions. So these 5 signs, we can actually read or create a picture of a frequency of ourselves, or another human being. And these are the rhythm of our breath, heart rate variability, the tone of our voice, the posture, and the subtle muscular tension. So when these align with emotional truth and with integrity, others can then experience our frequency as a trustworthy frequency. And even if they don't know why, and even if they don't know us, they will kind of feel this frequency of authenticity, of truth within our field. And this is really our field in action. And this is where we often, when we say about individuals, well, this is authenticity on play. So in another specter of the coherence, we got the notion of the field collapse. So this happens when one of the poles of our luminous energy field is either dominant or it collapses. So we can make a few examples about this. If we always give but never receive, this makes us or others feels burdened. This is kind of overloading one part of the poles. If we project confidence but feel like a fraud inside, this is something others can sense as well. And the third example, very, very important example, downplaying our own needs to stay spiritual. And this can show as...
Shut the door, please, needs.
This can show as resentment leaking into our vibe. So this is in a way like spiritual bypassing, downplaying our physical needs to stay spiritual. So this is very important to note, to be able to stay real in this frequential notion of wholeness. So we can conclude that when we carry emotions like fear, shame, guilt, they can create an erratic frequency in our field, an incoherent field, so to say. And when that happens, well, our heart rhythms also can disrupt this electromagnetic transmission that we are communicating with the field. As we mentioned yesterday on our first class, the opposites, they're actually identical in nature. They're just differing in degree. And the notion of polarity is that it is not fixed, it is fluid. So magnetism always returns to its original place when we shift our internal degrees. So we can kind of reflect upon this just with a few questions. For an example, what are we magnetized to right now? What kind of an example can we pick up on that just now at this very moment? What are we magnetized to? Obviously, we are magnetized to receive these teachings and to understand better about chaos, order, collapsing, or coherence field. So this is what we are magnetized to do right now. This is the purpose of our meeting. So our field is in a way aligned with the attraction and magnetization of the teachings that we are sharing now and here. So this was a like real-time example of our magnetic, attractive identity at this very moment. So in this block, in this segment of our session, we will share a little bit more science about bioelectricity and a little bit more on heart-brain coherence and field dynamics. So as we know, nothing rests, everything moves and everything vibrates. So let's kind of like begin at the beginning here once more to reaffirm this knowledge. It can help us, in the long run, hold our field stabilized and more coherent. So the ancients, they knew this way before modern science. And the modern science is even catching up first upon that now. So we know that the universe is not built on solid matter. Everything is energy. Everything is built on movement. So atoms never stop dancing. Electrons never sit still. And it's like this blueprint of the whole experience that we are living as humans is becoming the language of coherence, of being in sync with our energy centers and being in sync with our thoughts, emotions, feelings, and actions, and intentions and attentions. So in principle, we can say that everything that is in motion is also vibrational. It has a frequency, but it's also vibrational. And this is where we touch the Hermetic principle of vibration. So as we mentioned before, every particle, every atom, every thought, every cell in our body operates on a certain frequency level, frequency signal, so to say. And when we understand this, we begin to understand that we can tune into this broadcast station within ourselves, which is our brain. So then we can talk about frequency and intention. And this is the hidden key. So how does the frequency relate to intention? So guys, let's think of our intention as the vector of our energy, like a direction line, where we direct our intention, our energy flows, or where we flow with our emotions, our energy flows. So this is meaning that our intention, in a way, is vectorizing, directing our energy towards a certain outcome. And this is really important for us as medicine men and women to understand, to be using in the field.
I really can't hear though. Keep my door open so I can at least.
Well, please, if there's any communication in behind, mute yourself and you can unmute yourself when you're finished. So let's continue, please. So frequency and intention connected to vectorizing our energy. Intention, as we know, is the main principle in the field. And by intention, we both heal ourselves and can heal others. Intentionality can help us resolve most of the assignments and actions and thoughts and feelings in our lives. So this can also place frequency as a factor which shows us the quality of that energy. So how are we showing up then is actually in a way our frequential readout. This is the quality of our frequency, the way we show up in the world, the way we stand in our congruence, coherence as an energetic being in the world. So this is actually a fingerprint of ourselves as personalities and showing the quality of our being. So we can say if our intention is love, but we are carrying anxiety, then our signal will be scrambled, and the field will not know how to react, how to reflect this back to us. So this is also the trap that, for example, many spiritual seekers will fall into, chasing elevated states, spiritually bypassing their actual frequency. It's kind of like running away from reality, bypassing the physical stuff just to be touching a spiritual sphere for a getaway from real life. And this actually creates ripples in our frequency and creates kind of like, in a way, a fake vibration, which destroys our frequential readout then. And guys, as you know, the universe, or as I call it, the field, is extremely honest, extremely exquisitely honest. It always mirrors exactly what we are, not what we say we are. So guys, we know now, and we knew this, that we are beings of light and vibration. So our cells, they use lights as the molecules to communicate, and that light is operating in a way as a frequency. So this means that our body, our biology, in a way, is a field of light and vibration. It's kind of like, in a way, this electromagnetic field in motion, governed by all these principles which are connected, biological, quantum principles, and so on and so forth. So let's bring this down to the earth also. Coherence is not about being perfect. It's not about always being happy. It's not about never being triggered. It's about becoming aware of our energetic broadcast and learning how we can tune into that broadcast. Reminding us, when our thoughts, emotions, and nervous systems are aligned, we become coherent. And when we become coherent, well, then we become magnetic. Magnetic to attract the desired future or the desired manifestative subject that we are trying to attract. So, guys, for the last part of the session, we are soon down to our frequency reset ritual and a short guided meditation. So before we enter this guided meditation, I just want you to focus in a little bit on today's emotions. So what emotion is most active in your field today? Whether it be joy, doubt, fear, clarity, whatever you feel that was the main dominant emotion of your day today, well, bring that to the surface of your intentionality and let's amplify that emotion through our guided meditation so that it can attract both presence, joy, compassion, and absolute truth as well. So guys, the last part of our session, let's connect to our heart space, please. If it feels right for you, place your hand on your heart and touch this place of inner power, the inner sun, the medicine of eagle Condor, the place of the element of fire. And let's take 5 to 7 cycles of deep inhalations and deep exhalations as well. As we breathe deeply, let's imagine our body pulsing in a golden radiant bubble. a luminous energy field around our bodies, stretching 10 feet and pulsing gold and emerald light. Let's allow our breath to become the tuning fork. And to expand our hearts with joy. And to align our spines with truth. Inviting the emotions of presence, joy, compassion, and truth into our field. And also, I invite all of us now to honor that part of ourselves that sometimes feels too much. Let's honor that very part of ourselves that sometimes feels too much, too chaotic, too craving for connection. Let's bring that part of ourselves in our field and let's give it some love and compassion. Let's realize that chaos and order are the part of the same scale. And that within chaos lays a fertile ground for transmutation, transformation, innovation, and conscious co-creation. In this place, this abandoned, chaotic part of ourselves, which sometimes is too much. This is our internal compass, calling us back to coherence, back to love, back to alignment, and back to this very moment. And at the end, let's affirm to ourselves, I am abundant. I am the frequency of what I choose to call in. And I stand and radiate compassion.
I stand and radiate compassion.
Now, guys, open your eyes in your own time. And module 2 is finished. And before we say bye-bye to each other, I want to give you a short preview of module 3 for tomorrow. So, next session, we will be exploring this foundational grid of polarity. It's the interplay between the masculine and the feminine energetics. It's the inner structure versus flow, safety, freedom. So this will be an interesting module because we will be able to see why some of our deepest patterns in love, purpose, and power all can be traced back to energetic misalignments of structure. So I want to invite you to think this a little bit deeper on before the module tomorrow. If you ever felt too much or not good enough, this module, the coming module, the sacred structure of the masculine and the feminine energetics, it will be the module that will reframe everything that you thought of yourself. So within this, let's close our session reminding us that chaos is the laboratory of life. Order is kind of like the archive of life. And we need both of these. And between them, we kind of learn how to feel. Resilience is the ability to move between these poles without collapsing. So if nature is using uncertainty to evolve, why would our soul be different? So we have to know how to function in uncertainty and in chaos. So I invite all of us now, guys, to honor the parts of ourselves that sometimes feel too much, too sensitive, too chaotic, too craving for connection. These parts of us are not broken. They are our internal compass, which is calling us back to coherence. And in that way, back to love, back to alignment, and back to this very moment. So thank you for being here today, guys, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Trisha, thank you for interacting, and thank you for being here once more with me. Welcome to Module 3 tomorrow. I'd be happy to see you again.
Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.